Hello, I'm Mujat Ahmed. I'm a visiting faculty at the OB Jindal Global University. I'm going to talk about the module Rights of the Elderly in India. So first we start with the learning outcomes. What are the learning outcomes of the module? The intended learning outcomes. To develop an understanding of the laws and policies relating to the rights of the elderly in India. Second, to critically understand the key provisions of the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act 2007 and its significance. To comprehend the various concessions and facilities available to the elderly in India. Advancing of old age is usually associated with many challenges, including declining health, reduction in social commitments, and increasing possibilities of discrimination and rights. Challenges making the elderly more vulnerable. This calls for the protection of the rights of the elderly in an effective manner to enable them to enjoy their rights on an equal basis with others and integrate them into the society. Accordingly, various laws, policies, and schemes have been implemented in India to ensure the protection of the rights of the elderly and create an age-friendly environment in the society. Now we will look at the legal protection of elderly rights in India. In the light of the international recognition of the human rights of the elderly persons and considering the specific needs of the elderly in India, the Government of India has made various efforts to protect and promote the human rights of the elderly through various legislations, policies, and schemes. For the purpose of availing the various old age benefits made available to the elderly, all those persons who have attained the age of 60 years or above have been defined as elderly in India. The legal protection accorded to the various rights of the elderly in the Indian setup can be studied under the following heads. So first we have the Constitution of India. The Constitution of India is the fundamental law of the land that provides protection to all fundamental rights and freedoms of all members of the society. Likewise, the rights of the elderly have also been addressed to a certain extent under the Constitution of India. The constitutional provisions that are relevant to the elderly people are as follows. 1 is Article 41 of the Constitution of India provides as follows. The state shall, within the limits of its economic capacity and development, make effective provision for securing the right to work, to education, and to public assistance in cases of employment, old age, sickness, and disablement, and in other cases of undeserved want. Entry 24 in the list 3rd of Schedule 7 to the Constitution of India in the concurrent list deals with the welfare of labor, including conditions of work, provident funds, employers' liability, workmen's compensation, invalidity, and old age pension and maternity benefits. some of the other constitutional provisions that are also applicable to the elderly are as follows. Fundamental rights under Part 3 of the Constitution of India, with the exception of Articles 21A and 24, which deal with the rights of children specifically. Articles 39A, 42 to 44, 46 and 47 under Part 4 of the Constitution, Entry 9 in List 2 of Schedule 7 to the Constitution of India, which is a state list, which deals with the relief of the disabled and unemployable. Entries 20 and 23 in List 3 of Schedule 7 to the Constitution of India, in the concurrent lists, that deal with economic and social planning and social security and social insurance, employment and unemployment respectively. Now let's look at the legislations and other legal provisions that exist in India. All the legislations in India pertinent to the elderly focus upon the maintenance and the welfare of these people. The laws protecting the right to maintenance of the elderly and their welfare in India are as follows. Personal laws. The maintenance of parents is the moral duty of the younger generations and is a wider recognized fact. However, the degree of responsibility of such maintenance varies from community to community, at least so far as the law is concerned. Now let's look at Hindu law. Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956 under Section 20. Second, the Hindu Adoption and Maintenance Act 1956 provides the statutory recognition of the duty of the children with respect to the maintenance of their parents. Section 20 of the Act imposes an obligation on every Hindu to maintain his/her aged or infirm parents during his/her lifetime. Thus, it's the duty of both sons as well as the daughters to maintain their aged or infirm parents. However, it's to be noted that such obligation extends only when the parents is or are unable to maintain himself or themselves. Now let's look at the Muslim law, also called the Muhammadan law. The duty of the children to maintain their parents is also recognized under the Muslim law. However, the duty of maintenance extends so long as the parents are unable to provide for themselves. Under Muslim law, mothers are given preference over fathers when it comes to maintenance. But under the Shia law, both parents are treated equally. We were talking about the predominantly Sunni law earlier, and this is the Shia law, which means that both parents are treated equally in Shia law. Further, as under the Hindu law, both sons and daughters have a duty to maintain their parents. However, the obligation of the children is dependent on their having the means to do so and is proportionate to their means. Now let's look at the Christian and Parsi law. The Christians and Parsis have no specific provision for the maintenance of parents under their personal laws. However, the elderly belonging to these communities are entitled to claim maintenance from their children under the provisions of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. So, The Code of Criminal Procedure 1973 provides for the maintenance of parents under the provision of Section 125 of the Code. According to this section, it is the obligation of the children to maintain their parents in the times of necessity. Both sons and daughters, including married daughters, are responsible for the maintenance of the parents under the Code. However, it is essential for the parent to establish that the other party has sufficient means and has neglected or refused to maintain the parent, who is unable to maintain himself or herself to obtain maintenance under the provision. It's important to note that the Conduct of Criminal Procedure 1973 is a secular law and is applicable to all communities and religions. Now we'll look at Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act 2007. An initiative of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment of the Government of India, the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act was created in the year 2007. The Act received the assent of the President of India on December 29, 2007. The Act came into effect in different states when the respective states notified the same in their official gazette. While some states have already implemented the Act, few others are yet to implement it. According to this Act, parents and grandparents who are unable to maintain themselves are entitled to claim maintenance from their children. In case of, say, childless persons, the specified relatives of the aged childless persons are obligated to maintain them. In other words, the children of the specified relatives, as the case may be, are to fulfill the basic needs of the aged parents, provide them care during their old age, and enable them to lead a normal life without deprivation or neglect of basic needs. In case of violation of the provisions of the Act, the person who is guilty of such violation is punishable with an imprisonment up to 3 months or fine up to 5,000 or both. Apart from providing the duties of the children or specified relatives, the Act also provides for the roles and responsibilities of the government in the maintenance of senior citizens, like setting up of old age homes, and makes provisions for medical care of senior citizens and protection of their life and property. The Act also makes the rights provided under the Act justiciable through tribunals established under the Act. The provisions of the Act may be summarized as follows. Administrative setup. The Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment of the Government of India is the nodal agency for the issues concerning the elderly. The Ministry has been adopting various policies and welfare schemes for the benefit of the elderly time and again. The programs of the Ministry aim at the welfare and maintenance of the elderly, with special focus on the older persons belonging to the indigenous groups. Policies and schemes. Various policies and schemes have been formulated and implemented by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. Government of India, which is the nodal agency for the issues concerning the elderly. A brief account of some of the policies and schemes in place in India for the welfare of the elderly are as follows. National Policy on Older Persons, 1999, also known as NPOP. A national policy was initiated by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India in the year 1999 to promote the health, safety and social security and well-being of senior citizens in India, and to strengthen their legitimate place in the society and help them to lead a dignified life. The policy for the first time clearly recognized a person above 60 years of age as a senior citizen. The policy aimed at making the elderly completely independent citizens of the nation. So now we would look at the core areas of intervention. National Council for Older Persons, also called as NCOP. In the pursuance of the National Policy on Older Persons 1999, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, constituted a National Council for Older Persons in the year 1999 to operationalize and oversee the implementation of the National Policy on Older Persons of 1999. The Minister of Social Justice and Empowerment of the Government of India will be the chairperson of the Council. The National Council for Older Persons is not only the implementation agency of the 1999 policy, but also the highest body to advise the government regarding the formation and implementation of policies and programs concerning the elderly. The Council was reconstituted in the year 2005 to include representation of central and state governments, NGOs, citizen groups, associations of senior citizens, and experts in the fields of law, social welfare, and medicine as members of the Council. Next is the Interministerial Committee on Older Persons, also called the IMCOP. Interministerial Committee on Older Persons, comprising of 19 ministries of the Government of India, is another mechanism instituted for the implementation of the National Policy on Older Persons 1999. The Secretary of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, heads the committee. We have is the Integrated Programs for Older Persons, IPDP. The scheme of integrated programs for older persons was initiated in the year 1992 by the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, to improve the quality of senior citizens by providing the basic amenities like food, water, shelter, healthcare, etc. For this purpose, the scheme provides for capacity building of government and non-government agencies, Panchayat Raj institutions, and other local bodies and the community at large. Further, financial assistance up to 90% of the project costs will be provided to NGOs for establishing and maintaining old age homes, daycare centers, and mobile Medicare units. The scheme was revised in the year 2008 to increase the financial assistance and include other innovative projects concerning elderly. The scheme has been further revised in the year 2015 with effect from 1st April 2015 to make it flexible to include the diverse needs of the elderly. Now we'll look at assistance for construction of old age homes. A non-planned scheme of assistance to Panchayati Raj institutions, voluntary organizations, self-help groups for the construction of old age homes or multi-service centers for older persons was started in the years 1996-97. Aid up to 50% of the construction costs subject to a maximum of rupees 15 lakhs was given under this scheme. However, due to widespread discontent, the scheme was discontinued at the end of Acts Plan 2006-7. After the enactment of the Maintenance and Welfare of Parents and Senior Citizens Act 2017, formulation of a new scheme under Section 19 of the Act, which provides for the provision of old age homes for indigent elderly, is underway. Let's have a look at the national policy for senior citizens. The increasing population of the elderly, the heterogeneity of the elderly community, changing economy, social transformations, advancement of research, science and technology, and the failure in the effective implementation of the existing policies and schemes all led to the formulation of a new policy concerning the elderly. Accordingly, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India formulated a new policy titled National Policy for Senior Citizens, which revises the existing 1999 National Policy on Older Persons. The draft of the new policy was released by the Ministry in the year 2011. The policy is currently under finalization and is yet to be implemented. The proposed new policy is devised to overcome the flaws of the existing policy and tries to include a comprehensive set of rights of the elderly. The policy values an age-integrated society and aims at strengthening the intergenerational integrity, understanding, and support. The policy seeks to reach out to the elderly living in rural areas, in particular, who are dependent on family bonds. The policy, along with focusing upon 9 areas of intervention, the policy also provides the mechanism for effectively implementing the policy. Other schemes. Some of the other schemes that are aimed at improving the quality of life of the elderly include a scheme of national award for citizens. Second, National Initiative on Care for Elderly. Then, Old Age Social and Income Security Scheme under Aadhaar. Concessions and facilities available to the elderly. The elderly senior citizens in India are provided various welfare benefits to enable them to lead a happy, peaceful, and dignified life without any neglect of any basic amenities. Some of such benefits include name of the ministry, facilities/benefits given to senior citizens. Ministry of Rural Development, Indira Gandhi National Old Age pension scheme, which is also called IGNOAPS. Pension to senior citizens belonging to a household below poverty line at rupees 200 per month to persons above 60 years and rupees 500 per month to persons above 80 years of age. Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Separate queues for older persons in government hospitals. Geriatric clinic in several government hospitals. The ministry implemented the National Program for the Health Care for the Elderly, also known as NPHCE, from the year 2010-11. Ministry of Finance. Health Insurance, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, IRDA, wide letter dated 25th May 2009, issued instructions on health insurance for senior citizens to CEOs of all general health insurance companies, which inter alia includes allowing entry into health insurance schemes till 65 years of age. Transparency in the premium charge. Reasons to be recorded for denial of any proposals, etc. on all health insurance products catering to the needs of senior citizens. Likewise, the insurance companies cannot deny renewability without specific reasons. Tax benefits. Income tax exemption for senior citizens of 60 years and above up to rupees 2.5 lakh per annum. Income tax exemption for senior citizens of 80 years and above up to rupees 5 lakh per annum. Deduction of rupees 20,000 under Section 80D is allowed to an individual who pays medical insurance premium for his or her parent or parents who is a senior citizen. An individual is eligible for a deduction of the amount spent or rupees 60,000, whichever is less, for medical treatment of a dependent senior citizen. Now, the Ministry of Home Affairs. The Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India, has issued detailed advisories dated 27 March 2008 and 30th August 2013 to take immediate measures to ensure safety and security and for elimination of all forms of neglect, abuse, and violence against old persons through initiatives which inter alia include identification of senior citizens, sensitization of police personnel regarding safety, security of older persons. Regular visit of the beat staff, setting up of toll-free senior citizens helplines, setting up of senior citizen security cell, verification of domestic helps, drivers. Then we'll look at the Ministry of Railways. So what does the Ministry of Railways have for the elderly? Separate ticket counters for senior citizens of age 60 years and above at various passenger reservation system, also known as the PRS centers, if the average demand per shift is more than 120 tickets. Provision of lower berth to make passengers of 60 years and above and female passengers of 45 years and above 40% and 50% concession in rail fare for male aged 60 years and female aged 50 years senior citizens respectively. Wheelchairs at stations for old age passengers. Now moving on to the Ministry of Civil Aviation. The national carrier Air India, under the Ministry of Civil Aviation, provides airfare concession in up to 50% for senior citizens who have completed 63 years of age on the date of commencement of journey and on production of proof of age, meaning photo ID, and nationality. Now we'll move on to the Ministry of Road Transport. What do they have? What goodies do they have for the elderly? Ministry of Road Transport and Highways. Reservation of 2 seats for senior citizens in front row of the buses of the state road transport undertakings. Some state governments are giving fare concessions to senior citizens in the state road transport undertaking, buses, and or introducing bus models which are convenient to the elderly. Moving on to the Department of Communications. So, what does the Department of Communication offer to the elderly? False complaints of senior citizens are given priority by registering them under senior citizens category with VIP flag, which is a priority category. Senior citizens are allowed to register telephone connection under NOYT special category, which is a priority category. Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. So what does this ministry offer the elderly? Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. Under the Antyodaya scheme, the below poverty line or the BPL families, which also include older persons, are provided food grains at the rate of 35 kgs per family per month. The food grains are issued at rupees 3 per kg for rice and rupees 2 per kg for wheat. The persons aged 60 years above from the BPL category were given priority for identification. Under the Annapurna scheme being implemented by the states or the Union Territory Administration, 10 kilograms of food grains per beneficiary per month are provided free of cost to those senior citizens who remain uncovered under the old age pension scheme. Instructions to state governments for giving priority to the ration card holders who are over 60 years of age in fair price shops for issue of rations. Miscellaneous. Courts in the country accord priority to cases involving older persons and ensure their expeditious disposal. Under the old age pension scheme, monthly pension is given at variable rates to the destitute old by various state governments or union territories, union territory governments or union territory administrations. Let's summarize now. The NPOP 1999 is being reviewed and revised, and a new national policy on senior citizens is formulated. The new policy is yet to be implemented and is under finalization. Thank you.